Hello, everyone. Uh, Welcome you all to today's session, webinar on how to use AI in the classroom setting. I am Cihan Özalevli. I am one of the co-founders of Twin Science and Robotic. My work here is defined as Chief Learning Officer. And our company is at the heart of educational technology with a mission to pave the way for schools to embrace the responsible and green jobs of tomorrow. And in order to do that, we develop playful learning tools for children and assist educators, teachers with engaging content library and digital tools that make teachers' life easier. In today's webinar, we will focus on how AI technologies, mainly ChatGPT, and how it can help you in the classroom setting. In the first part of this webinar, I will start with a brief on Twin's learning approach. And then I will invite Tom Rogerson to this webinar as a guest panelist. Please send your questions to use by using question and answer tab in the Zoom. And my friend Batuhan will be responding to your questions, and I will be answering some of them during our live webinar session. And after having discussion with Tom Rogerson, we will jump into the practical uses of AI in the classroom setting. So this is the agenda of today, and we started right on time, and we hope to finish the webinar on time. And it will be a 1 hour long webinar. And I will start, as I mentioned, with twin learning approach. So education is all about preparing children for the future. And according to a study, Foundation for Education Development conducted in the UK, there are 5 big challenges ahead of the countries around education, and 2 of them are directly related to future of students. The first one is the future of workforce, and with the rapid developments on especially artificial intelligence technologies and automation, the job descriptions and the required skills are changing. And some of the occupations are not yet even invented. And secondly, the climate change and problems related to sustainability. Unfortunately, it's a top priority for the current generation, who will be affected more than us, and hopefully become the pioneers to create sustainable planet. So to overcome these challenges, we provide as a company STEAM education for sustainability. Our vision is to raise double wing generation. This double wing generation is in Twin's terminology. And by double wing, we mean competency and compassion. Children all born with double wings and curiosity makes our wings stronger in our learning journeys. And this leads to skill development and empathy. Therefore, we are supporting the development of pupils' STEM skills through sustainable development goals. As students develop new skills and knowledge, they create projects and solutions around sustainability. The process of learning becomes very playful for them and relatable to the world around them. And we do that by empowering schools and teachers with our digital and physical products. So this is a quick snapshot to our products. And today, I will also, at the end of our webinar, I will show you a couple of resources from Educator Portal on how to teach AI in classroom setting. But basically, Twin is in a vision to create world's largest educational library for sustainability. And this library opens its doors to partners of education, to teachers, to students, to parents in different ways through different products. And in our content development processes, we work with universities such as University College London and Imperial College London, and companies, technology companies like Google, Microsoft, Intel, to make sure that our pedagogy is aligned. So without further ado, I want to invite our lovely guest, Tom Rogerson. But before inviting him, I want to give you some background information on how we met with Tom Rogerson. So in October, we read an article in Telegraph, and the title of the article was Prep School Appoints AI Chatbot as its principal head teacher. And it was surprising for us. So the AI chatbot's name is Abigail Bailey, and she's working as principal head teacher. And as an EdTech co-founder, I was excited to meet Tom, and we asked for a meeting. And he accepted our kind invitation to participate today's webinar session. He has been working in the independent school sector for 31 years and in his 14th year of headship at Cottesmore School. He was educated at Eton and Cambridge. He has since taken only 1 year out of teaching, which was he was working for a conglomerate Universal Music International in the A&R department. So his vision for Cottesmore is to combine Cottesmore's 120-year story of academic and sporting excellence with a fresh and dynamic vision to ensure that Cottesmore continues to deliver a future-driven, world-class education. And his initiatives around using AI in classroom actually explains this mission statement very clearly. So, Tom, hello.
Hi there. How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for accepting our invitation today.
Thanks very much for having me. I'm hugely honored, and it looks like you've got a fantastic group of people watching. So I'm hugely impressed already. I do my own
Uh,
webinars and things like that, and
mhm.
I can only dream of having such a core membership. So well done to you already. Thank you very much for having me. Very
Thank you. Thank you. Like our participants will be asking their questions from chat, and we will try to actually direct it to you for your responses.
please, yeah. I'm
And
very keen to hear what everybody's
yes,
saying, everybody's thinking. Yeah.
of course. So maybe we can start with the first question, Tom. But maybe before first question, we can ask the same one to our participants. So I'm going to open a Q&A now to make it more interactive.
Hmm.
And in this poll, I want to hear teachers' thoughts on using AI. So the poll is open now, and they will be able to actually share their thoughts through poll. But at the same time, maybe we can also discuss your feelings. It is freshly new. Like not everyone knows what ChatGPT is, but they launched the product in 2018, so it's freshly new. But how was your experience? What were your thoughts at the first
If
instant?
I could vote, I'm not allowed to vote. If I could vote, I would use click the last one. I use them a lot.
Perfect. So you use them a lot, and what were you thinking? How were you feeling when you first met with the technology?
Is this my first question here?
Yes.
Okay, good. Sorry, what was the question again, please?
No worries. So, when you first met with the technology, for how did you feel? Like, there are a lot of speculations around ChatGPT will replace jobs, right?
So
And one of them was related to teachers and education. But
yeah.
as an educator, how did you feel at first instant?
Um, so I first was introduced to generative AI with an image making app called Wonder. Have you used Wonder?
I used similar ones, not the
It's
Wonder.
it's my it's my preference still, just because
Mhm,
I've been using it from the beginning, and it was in October last year. No, October 2 years ago now,
mhm,
and it was absolutely mind blowing. I'm an artist. I'm a songwriter as well as a teacher, and this really interests me. It interested me initially. Then on an Exeat, I'm the headmaster of this school, and then my nephew came back. He's now left. He's gone off to a school called Eton. And at the time, he's super interested in everything that's technology. He's way streaks ahead of 99.9% of adults. He came back after I'd been using Wonder. I didn't know it was related, but he said, there's this thing called ChatGPT. You gotta get into it. You gotta find out about it. And I ignored him, obviously. He was sort of 11 at the time. And I ignored him. And then he kept on badgering me. He kept on telling me about it and saying, you've really got to look into this. And looking back on that time when I hadn't used it, I can I can empathize with all of the people who haven't used it yet. And it doesn't make any sense whatsoever until you download ChatGPT and you use the thing. That's what I would really strongly suggest anybody in this 105. I doubt very much there's anybody in the 105 participants right now who hasn't used ChatGPT. But literally, if you haven't, just do it, because you might love it, you might loathe it, you might hate it. But it doesn't matter. Either way, you've used it, you understand it, you can act with intelligence, you can act with information. So anyway, Max, my nephew, told me about it, and then I started to use it, and it was like a light bulb going on. I was so excited to hear about what you said. The one phrase you said, making teachers' lives easier. Did you say that? And that is that the light bulb suddenly went on, and it was just the clouds opened and the sun shone, and it was, this could make life so much better for teachers. I don't know about in your sort of sphere, in your area, what it's like, what the administrative burden is like, what the bureaucracy is like. I call it the paperwork pandemic. And
Nice saying.
we are weighed down by this by this incredible burden of bureaucracy. And the light bulb immediately went on, bing, and I suddenly realized, of course, my nephew Max is speaking the truth, and he's used this and he's really understanding it. So yeah, that's how I first learned about it. And did I immediately think of the bad things about it? You do generally, when you first start using things, it's almost too easy, or it's like it puts you off slightly, that it's so easy and it creates an entire letter for you in moments. But then you start to think, how can I use this? How can I use this ease to make myself more productive and be a
Mhm.
better teacher, a better person, and a better teacher? And so that's
Mm.
immediately where you go to. You first use it and you think, oh, this feels flabby. This doesn't feel right. It's not like, somebody who goes to the gym all the time. It doesn't feel tight and, fit, because it's so easy. But then you go, wow, actually, if I worked as hard as I usually do while using this, you could really go somewhere very quickly.
Perfect. Perfect example of also learning from new generations. When I am working with children, they show me something new all the time, and if I can be brave enough to actually look through it, I often see something new, which helps me in return. So, and in your case, this was your nephew, and I know that any development in technology should be understood in detail, especially by educators, before teaching it to pupils. And we need to be sure about its safe usage. And I can see you started from yourself, but the school is an ecosystem, right? So how did you envision the importance of using these tools to teachers and staff? How did you show them that they can save time by showing little effort?
Yeah. So this is a massive part. There are sort of three sections to my personal journey. One is um, one is development with a developer, and I'll tell you all about that if you want. One is the communicative piece. So it's the conferences, the festivals that we've been putting on, and I'm going to talk about that now. I think that was what the question is asking. And the other one is the AI principal head teacher. And so, yeah, so the answer to your question there is And to the listeners, I really recommend you do this. Wherever you are, become the hub. Become the hub for the conversation. So this is what we did. So in May last year, we gathered. We were the first school to do this. We were the first place to do this. I think obviously AI has existed for a very, very long time, a few decades, and that's something that people don't understand. They think it's a new thing, like November 2022, it suddenly existed. It's been around for a very, very long time. But in terms of the generative AI, the consumable version that we've been given, the toy, as it were, this is new. And so, as you said, what did it make you think when you first? It was a light bulb. It was a explosive sort of moment, and I thought, surely this is worth a conversation. So that's exactly what we did. In May, we started a conversation. We had a festival. Sorry, we had a conference, 1 day conference. And a guy called Sir Anthony Selden spoke, and he's very famous within the UK education sector, and a whole lot of amazing practitioners. And I'd love to tell everybody about all these people you can follow. So one guy who made a big, big impact on that first day was Chris Goodall. So Chris, Chris, and Goodall, Goodall. And he completely opened everybody's minds. It was absolutely extraordinary. But it was very much about philosophy. It was very much about thought leadership, philosophy. This is where it could take us. And so I thought that was it, because we became sort of very much talked about at that point. The school, the event, the conference. And I think you should do this. I think listeners, you should do this. You should have this conversation, even if it's within your setting or your group of schools or within a group of teachers. You should create these settings, because you need to be inspired. You need to be excited, but you also need to listen out for best practice. And I'm a member of I'm on several boards now for AI in education practices and a company and various other things. And I'm by no means a coder, an AI developer, or an expert. But I like to drive forward these ideas for AI in education. I'm very, very excited to talk about them. And so I'd suggest that everybody kind of gets people together and talks about it. But then I said, right, to myself, that's it. That's all we're going to do. And then I was talking to some people, and they were saying, no, you can't just start something up like that and just leave it, because it was so big that I thought, well, that's enough for me. Thank you very much. But I was persuaded, I was pushed by people like you to carry on with this sort of idea. And we decided to create a 3 solid day festival for AI in education, which was quite sort of mega. It wasn't just 1 day, 9 to 4, everybody goes home. It was 3 days. People were flying across the world to come and stay in local hotels and come over for this event. It was beamed out around the world. It was absolutely astounding. Anyway, so we had a party on the first day, on the first Monday, and then Tuesday, and it was a really extraordinary first moment of this. Lots of really exciting people gathering together and coming together. And I really, I really sort of encourage all the listeners, encourage you, just exactly what you're doing right now, to gather people together and do this. But it was an extraordinary thing. Darren Coxon was the first speaker. So Anthony Selden opened it up again, but you can't follow him on LinkedIn. So that's a bit sort of frustrating there, because he's brilliant. He wrote a book about AI 2-3 years ago in education, or actually just AI. Darren Coxon, Darren, Coxon, Coxon. Okay, so he is a huge AI enthusiast, and he knows a huge amount. And he opened up the talk, the festival, and for the first practical masterclass session, because the whole thing was a practical masterclass session. We'd done the talking, we'd done the philosophy, and then we thought, where do we go from here? Let's stop talking about it. Let's stop philosophizing. Let's stop, all this thought leadership, and let's do this thing. Let's teach people how to do it. So Darren Coxon set about, in 3 hours, creating a whole school. Marketing, the building, the architecture, the policies, the safeguarding policies, GDPR policy, the entire thing, and succeeded. And people were creating, around the world, obviously beaming in by Zoom. Everybody is creating their own schools with policies attached and the whole lot. So that was the second one, and then it went on. And I'll tell you where to find out about it, because the videos are coming out soon. This was in September. And the videos are coming out soon. It's taken a bit of a while to develop them and to edit them. Anyway, so loads and loads of people talked. A guy called Matthew Weems talked, and he's a great guy. You should talk to him, actually. He's a brilliant practitioner. He's in the classroom every day, beavering away, really getting with the children, with the AI. He's a real proper practitioner. And of course, I don't know if you've heard of him, Dan Fitzpatrick. Have you heard of Dan Fitzpatrick?
We are planning to actually invite him to one of our webinars.
Right. So he's spoken at both. He spoke at both the conference and the festival. And then there was Dr. Philippa Hardman. I'd really advise people to follow Dr. Philippa Hardman. And she was brilliant. And she talks about, this is something that we should probably talk about today. She talks about equality and equity, or inequity, where it's leading us. It's looking like OpenAI is going to start to shut it down and put it behind a paywall. And so only people who have money can pay for it. And that's a big moral question for me. And it goes against shutting the whole thing away, goes against my philosophy and what I'm trying to achieve. And so anyway, so then we, and I've just got that, happened to have the flyer kicking about. And that was the next one, AI and special educational needs. Wow, boom. This is amazing stuff. What the potential that AI has with special educational needs to bespoke resources for people with their specific needs. And I don't know, you guys must be looking into that, and you guys must have resources for that. And I'd say, and so we had the chair of the British Dyslexia Association, who is Michelle. And we had this guy, Alex, who I want to talk to you about at a place called Interactive Tutor, and because they've been amazing for us. And I would, again, the listeners, I would recommend you go directly to Interactive Tutor and Alex. Phil Birchnell, he is an immersive technologies expert. He works for something called Discovery Channel, turned into this immersive technology educational program, and various other people. Think Academy, I'd definitely look into Think Academy. It's an AI-based maths program. And James Wace, diagnosing dyslexia with AI super quickly. Great guy. And then Ugner was super cool because she came all the way from Paris with robots. Because I've got this sort of, at the time, I had this really explosive ambition to insert AI into the robot and be in real time be explaining. But it's happening elsewhere and people are doing it. So this thing is coming true. Everybody's having creative thoughts about it. So I don't know, has that answered your question?
Yes, actually, it was a great brief of your journey within school setting, like bringing experts from all around and actually having a discussion around using AI using AI in education setting, like in education space. And I think that's what people need to hear. As people start hearing more thoughts from different experts, then actually you get to the feeling that yes, you can use this technology, you can get better and save time for yourself, and then it becomes just a quick push to the AI space. And we had questions from our participants as well, but I can maybe ask one of them
it's
to
quite an
you.
easy one to answer. What do you mean by download ChatGPT? You are right. It's a website. You have to sign up. You have to have an account. But what I mean is onto your iPhone, onto your Android phone. So anonymous attendee, that's the answer. That's by download. You're right. It can be an app, but it's an incredibly simple app because it's actually web-based. Yeah, you're right.
We have another question from AI lead teacher in the school, in a from school, and they're asking, how can they narrow down the choices of useful applications in AI? So there are, if you know any actually resource for that, you can share as well, Tom.
Yeah.
If not, we
So,
will
so
be.
I only have one answer, and it's a very simple answer. The people that I'm saying, the names of the people that I'm saying are, I'm a leader. Okay, so my expertise and my enthusiasm and my personal enthusiasm and personal use is very much for strategic leadership, AI in strategic leadership. I am promoting in my own school the use of AI in the classroom, but so I'm not an absolute expert in the apps that we use. I use AI apps myself, and I can recommend the ones I use. But what I would say is just listen out for the names that I'm saying of the people
Mm,
I'm talking about. Um, so Matthew Weems, if this person who's saying they're the AI lead, follow
mm,
Matthew Weems. He's so generous and he is so open-hearted, and he'll share with you everything. You know, if you're animating a photo, Zapier is obviously everybody's using Zapier to animate. Sort of, you know,
mm,
if you have Henry VIII, you know, that's a bit of English history thing going there. But animating it with Zapier is the sort of industry standard at the moment.
yeah.
But follow Matthew Weems. You spell Weems Wemyss, and you spell
Mm,
Matthew with two T's. Matthew
thank you.
Weems, and that's who I recommend. There are also other people who I'll chuck in a few names as well. Um, Jason Gulia is another one. Jason Jason, and Gulyan.
Mm,
He's again hugely generous. The
mm,
thing is, at the
mm,
moment, people are very excited. All of our conferences, all of our festivals are free.
mm,
People have
mm,
been speaking for free. People have been so generous. It's not going to last forever. So I
mm,
suggest, you know, I don't want to create a sort of panic, but I think we need to do all this cool stuff now. I
mm,
think we need to get going now in the next like maybe month, 2 months, because I think people are going to start to shut down, you know, put things behind paywalls. Right
mm,
now, we're it's an open source thing. Yeah.
mm. Thank you, Tom. Maybe before saying goodbye and jumping to the practical uses of AI in classroom setting, I can ask you one final question on, like, what is the like best case uses of Abigail Bailey, and do you see any risks around using, like, any real risks around using AI in education? Like, should we be careful about it?
Yeah, I mean, there's an immediate answer to that, and that's we when we developed Abby, it's now called Abby, and it is now called Abby as well. The
It's
pronouns are being
Abby. Thank you.
removed, and it was Abigail Bailey, and it was the full title AI principal head teacher. So and then we talked to some intellectuals, we talked to some academics and veterans, and it became very clear that something called uncanny valley. I don't know if you know heard of uncanny valley. It's making things too human. You can make things quite human. Siri has a human
Mhm,
voice, but
mhm,
it doesn't have a face. So that's deemed okay by the uncanny valley, you know, police.
mhm, mhm,
And so we worked really, really hard. We took away the functionality is exactly the same, and I've actually left some links for everybody here. I don't know if you can see them. I don't know if you can repost them to everybody. There's some links for some stuff, um, and Abby is on there. So if you're in a school and you want to avoid a bit of a trap, and you're thinking, hey, we're gonna appoint a person, you know, a thing as a person. Don't give it a title, a human title. Don't give it pronouns. Don't give it a full name. Abby is okay. ABI, Siri, Alexa. So it's called anthropomorphization, and it's called Uncanny Valley. Look up Uncanny Valley. It's really, really interesting. It's been, you know, it's 1905, I think, was the first time somebody mentioned this Uncanny Valley thing. So it's been around for a long time. But that's my big advice. So that's not. I don't believe it's a danger. I just believe it'll save you time to not humanize it too much. You can humanize it a bit, but not too much.
mhm,
And you can easily find out what's acceptable in the ecosystem and what's not. But we now have a we now have a logo or a graphic for Abby, and the functionality is exactly the same. It's for strategic leadership. And so, I think we can make a way. We can create these assistant bots till our heart's content, and I think they're absolutely brilliant. But yeah, so that's how we've come about that. What was the original question? Because I feel like I haven't finished.
Any risks
Oh yeah,
involved,
the
like the
risks.
real risks, like have you seen any problem with the usage
Yes.
in
So,
daily
so,
life?
so again, I don't want to, tell people what they already know, but I think you need to teach very, very quickly, or even first thing, you need to teach the faculty and you need to teach the children about the dangers of putting things into ChatGPT and LLMs that you do not want it to know and you do not want to make publicly available. So that's a massively important lesson, because you could get into all sorts of issues. So
Mhm.
GDPR, you know what I mean by GDPR.
Yes, of
You're in a
course.
place where it still exists, not still exists. Sorry, where it might be. Anyway, you understand GDPR. And so don't put in your location or don't put in your full name. Do not put lists of children's names in there, and their dates of birth and all this sort of stuff. This is really, really important not to do that. Make it generic. If you're putting in to make some resources for some children who are, for let's say, special educational needs, EdSpsych report, take away everything that you could possibly think of that would identify any specific thing.
Mhm.
So that's a danger, a possible danger that what you're typing into, what you're copy and pasting in to the LLM will be used, and it will pop up somewhere else when somebody else is asking it. So definitely that's a big no-no.
Thank you, Tom, for sharing your insights and also personal story on AI. There are some of our participants are asking for the links, and we will be providing the links to you.
So
We will
there
send them.
is no uncanny valley. Sorry, Sakide. I think it's Sakide. It's
Uh-huh.
uncanny valley with a
Hmm.
V, as in
Yes.
hills and
Mm-hmm.
valleys. So again, you can look it up. There's a whole page on it in Wikipedia.
Hmm.
Uncanny Valley. So if you want to save yourself some time, just apparently a voice is okay when you're creating a bot, but an animated face and voice and giving it a title and giving it a name, giving it pronouns, calling it she, not so much. But it's you can be you can go quite far down a track. So anonymous attendee at 726 asked, are you doing another conference next year? The answer is absolutely. So what I've done is I've included some links. So I've
Hmm.
included the link to Cottesmore just so you can see our setting. It's a bit of a juxtaposition. It's very countryside. It's very muddy. It's rugby and this. But so it's tech and country living together, and I love that sort of idea that you can do both. And then the next one is a LinkedIn. There's a LinkedIn group which you can follow. You can find out when the next conference is. Now, the next conference is AI and maths, or we might change it to AI and STEM, because maths is very, very niche, very, very
Hmm.
niche. And a lot of people are quite critical of generative AI and maths because it can hallucinate and change the numbers. But found a community who really like AI and maths. So please, please do come, anonymous attendee, if you can come to that by following two things. It's called the AI. You need to carry on with your bit. The
Hmm.
AI Share Hub, the AI and Tech Share Hub, and I've got a link to that. The other one is AI Plus, AI and. Okay, kindly
Thank
share the
you.
spell of AI app you share. I don't know what that means.
Uh, Thank you, Tom. People are cheering for STEM as well. Thank you for the conference initiatives and also involving our webinar today. We will say goodbye to you, and I will jump to the practical uses of AI
Yeah,
for
yeah,
teachers.
wonderful.
It
Somebody
was
said
lovely to chat with you.
somebody said STEM in the questions, and
Yeah,
it's I said STEAM because you can now include art in
yes.
ST, science, technology, engineering, art, and maths. So you can do a bit of STEAM, STEM. You can call it what you want nowadays.
Thank you, Tom.
Guys, thanks so
It was a
much.
joyful chat with you. Have a lovely day. So. After saying goodbye to Tom, we will continue with practical uses. Cutsmore School's experience with AI has been interesting, actually. But we thank him for the insights he provided, actually. So now I will jump to our webinar and try to share some couple of practical uses. And we have talked a lot about what is the risks, benefits, but I wanted to ask you a question, whether like what does a GPT stand for in ChatGPT? And probably all of you know this uh, already, generative pre-trained transformer. And I wanted to deconstruct the term and relate it to familiar concepts within the educational sphere in order to actually create a better picture. As educators, we are tasked with instructing students on how to comprehend language and tackle some complex mathematical problems. Let's consider how we might extend this to teaching approach to machines, enabling them to perform specific tasks. Machine learning is an area in AI where computers learn from data. It's like a student who learns from textbooks and class lessons, except computer uses data as its textbook, and data in this space is every interaction that actually is being done in digital networks. One method of machine learning involves something called neural networks, which are loosely inspired by the human brain. And just as child learns to identify objects through repeated exposure to them, neural networks learn patterns by being fed lots of examples. So the transformer term refers to the specific type of neural network GPT uses. Transformers can pay attention to different parts of the input data to understand the context better. It is similar to how a good reader can understand a sentence by considering the words around each word, not just by focusing each word in isolation. So in this photo, I asked ChatGPT to create an image. And the prompt I used was just create a watercolor representation of ChatGPT as a child. And it came up with this. So in this slide, I used actually two different use cases from ChatGPT. The first one was coming from the prompt that how can I break down generative pre-trained transformer concepts into blocks for teachers? So it broke down the concept and actually showed me some bullet points, and all I did was to connect each other with this image. And I also asked the same tool, ChatGPT, to create this image. So you can use ChatGPT for image creation. And this is only two of the use cases. And in this slide, you can see many different use cases. So I created 7 blocks: administrative, assessment, communication, for student use, lesson planning, professional development, social emotional learning, and special needs. Actually, Tom mentioned that for special needs, you can also use AI, ChatGPT. And I will open a new poll here. So just a second. Yes. So this poll, I want you to choose which block actually are you interested in more. So we will be sharing 5-6 different examples, but I want to actually learn from you, and we want to create a better fit agenda next webinar. So in some of these examples, I will show them in a minute. And then if the one that you want to see is not covered, I would like you to kindly follow us for our next webinars. So the poll is still ongoing, and the first is administrative, the second is assessment, third is communication, the fourth is for student use, lesson planning, professional development, social, emotional, and special needs. And in today's webinar, you can see the examples that we are going to focus with highlight. So we will show two examples from lesson planning. I will show one administrative example, one example from communication, and one example from social emotional learning. So I just want to check the responses. And as I expected, most of the participants want to see lesson planning examples. And the second one is assessments. The third one is professional development. So let's see, we will try to cover as much as possible. And if we cannot cover, we will have more webinars in the upcoming year, and we would love to see you there. So, and these are the results. Thank you for your participation, and let's jump into the first example, which will be about lesson planning. But before that, I want to show you what a good prompt looks like. So every task you want to complete with ChatGPT requires good prompting. And prompt, actually, there is a term now. There's people are expecting prompt engineering occupations. So prompt engineering is the skillful crafting of input texts, or we can say prompts, to effectively communicate with AI systems like chatbots or text generating models. It involves carefully designing the prompt to elicit the most accurate, relevant, and helpful response from the AI. And this skill is essential because the quality of the AI's output is often directly related to the clarity and specificity of the input it receives. Again, you can continue to think of AI as a child and or a person. In order to respond to you effectively, it needs to understand you. So think of prompt engineering as writing an exam question, for example. As a teacher, you know that how you phrase a question can significantly influence the answers of your students. If the questions is vague, the answers may be wide-ranging and off-topic. But if it's clear and more specific, you are more likely to get responses that demonstrate the student's understanding of the material. In the same way, when we interact with an AI, the prompts were like those exam questions. The AI reads the prompts and thinks about what we are asking before it responds with an answer. So in here, you start with a context. So the context is you are an experienced content writer with high levels of expertise and authority within the tech industry. So the AI goes to that part of its database. So the context is created and you define its task. Your task is to write content that will be published online on websites, social media, email, newsletters, and in advertisements. And then the task is still ongoing. Your writing style is informative, friendly, and engaging while incorporating humor and real-life examples. And then you jump to the instruction and you clarify. I will provide you with a topic or series of topics, and you will come up with an engaging article outline for this topic. And the clarification, do you understand? And when you ask this question and click enter, it returns you whatever it understood. and then you can refine it by using more natural expressive language, or you can add different actually details to make the answer more comprehensive. And so, for example, we will talk about a couple of examples. This is a very simple lesson plan generator. Like half of our participants who wanted to see a lesson plan generator example. So a simple lesson plan generator prompt would be generate a lesson plan for grade and subject on X topic that covers the standards that you want to cover, lasts desired duration of time, and includes reading materials as a video and a way for students to demonstrate their learning. Now, actually, I want to go to ChatGPT and then try a couple of examples together with you. So let me share my screen again here. So this is the chat I will be using during a webinar. So and then whenever it hears, of course, ChatGPT wants to talk. So let me copy and paste the example lesson plan prompt that I've shown to you to here. Yes. Generate a lesson plan for 8th graders that includes learning goals of knowing and applying properties of integer exponents to generate equivalent numerical expression, covering UK national curriculum. So it's directly brought me the lesson title, Understanding Properties of Integer Exponents. The learning objectives are listed. The materials for an activity that it suggested are listed. The lesson outline with the introduction, and then the other steps, exploring integer exponents. By the way, you can write your comments as well, like on whether you liked it or not. But this is the simplest lesson plan generator that you can make. So I want to show you how you can make it more detailed, right? To serve your purpose in a better way. So let me share what detailed lesson plan generator looks like. And this is a detailed version. So this was the simple lesson plan prompt, and this is detailed lesson plan prompt. And as you can see, there is more tasks on what ChatGPT needs to do. We want a teaching hook to engage students. We want a video to help students visualize the concept. We want a list of key vocabulary. We want student reading materials, lesson outline that includes direct instruction, and all that, right? So if you want a detailed lesson plan generator, then you have to show this to ChatGPT, and I will copy and paste this time the detailed lesson plan generator, and let's see whatever it will bring. Again, applying properties of integer exponents to generate equivalent numerical expressions. So this time it brought, as you can see, it break down the lesson. It started with a teaching hook. Begin with a captivating real-world scenario involving large number or scientific notation, sparking students' interest in understanding how to handle such numbers with ease. The video presentation, the key vocabularies, again listed. And you can actually change the subject, change the grade, change the content, and you can talk to it. For example, let's ask So the video, the lesson plan is about properties of integer exponents to generate equivalent numerical expressions. Add a real world example on example that children can relate. So math is always hard to show like out in the nature in the real world. And of course, when math is involved and real life is involved, ChatGPT's first response, of course, it should be about money. But you can ask it to be more creative. Please be more creative. So then it might bring another thing maybe. So again, now this time it went to the experience points. Again, another place where children can relate to from games and other activities. And you can actually create this story and then introduce integers to children. So I will skip to the another use of actually AI, and at the same time, let me check the questions. So Marianne asked a really good question. Does it give you exact video links to use in lessons? Not yet. So ChatGPT has some plugins that you can use, and those plugins might suggest you sometimes related videos from YouTube, but not yet. In order to do that, the YouTube videos should be actually downloaded, scripted, and uploaded to the database, and only then it can actually give more accurate links. But I hope a team of inventors might come up with such a plugin. Dan asked, I am very new to AI. How does anyone use it in their school to improve efficiency or lessons? Actually, I am right now trying to show it, Dan. Can you specify particular exam boards when you are looking for lesson plans for key stage 4 and 5? Estelle, I will need to turn this question maybe after our webinar. Thank you. So let's jump to the other examples real quick. So we have seen the simple lesson plan generator and the detailed one. What are the differences and what kind of different tasks and instructions you need to give in order to make it more detailed? And now I will focus on real world examples. So most of the time, when children actually relate the topic of the lesson, the subject of the lesson with the real life, then it becomes easier for them to be part of that learning journey, because whatever they are hearing, they are going to relate and build upon the prior knowledge. And real world examples actually really I like them a lot, and it increases children's attention. So you can use such prompt for to find a real world example based on a topic. You are an expert educator, skilled at making all topics and lessons relevant and interesting to your students. Create X number of examples of why in the real world for grade specified and with class learning about this specification. So inside of brackets, you can write topic, number, topic, and grade level and subject. And in this one, you can add another instruction on examples. And the examples should be straightforward and very engaging. Use my students' interests of, again, we are specifying an interest area of a student or group of students to guide ChatGPT's examples. And you can do this by with supporting documentation as well, right? So you want to see the real world example, but you want to see also the references. So each topic should include a resource that I can use for students interested in this example. So let's try one of them. So we are going to try one of the prompts. So and let me open ChatGPT and share the screen again. Perfect. So here, the prompt I chose is, you are an expert educator, skilled at transforming uninteresting course topics into compelling, relevant lessons. Create 10 examples of how sorting occurs in the real world that I can use with my kindergarten students. Examples should be straightforward and very engaging. Okay. Use my students' interest of candy, animals, toys, Disney characters, birthdays, this and that. So, and then we ask it to bring a real world example. So it brought candy sorting, animal sorting, toy sorting, Disney character, birthday sorting, and all, right? Ice cream, book, vehicle. Again, I'm sorry for the prompt that I used. So these are very general, actually, suggestions. But again, you can refine it. Okay, can you give another 5 around solar energy, you might say? And then it goes to solar powered toys, solar powered street lights, solar water heaters, solar powered chargers, solar powered schools. And again, it gives you some resources related to that. So all of these use cases are examples, as I said, and I will jump to another one now. And this one is about conflict resolution. So as teachers, probably you are experiencing this a lot. And conflict resolution role play is a very effective way to introduce social emotional learning skills. And there's a framework called CASEL framework where these social emotional learning skills are explained in detail. And in different difficult situations, before actually children face those situations, you can make them be an actor or an actress in that role play. So I'm gonna again try this with ChatGPT and see what kind of output it will give. And here's the prompt. Create 4 detailed role-playing scenarios for 4th grade students to help them practice resolving disputes that happen while playing team sports such as soccer or basketball. Include guidance on facilitating the role play and include a reflection question for students to engage with after completing the activity. This is a strange one. And when I ask it to ChatGPT, it brings 4 different scenarios. The first one is called the goal dispute. It relates to soccer. And the second one, the foul play. It relates to basketball. Another scenario, the teammates' mistakes, relates to soccer. And the substitution argument, basketball. You can change the sport and you can change the situation, and again you can refine it. Let's make it, I don't know, any other sports, like let's see whether in swimming it is enough for me to just write swimming because it already knows the context we're in, right? And I just say swimming and it brings one example from swimming, and it calls the pool etiquette disagreements. Yeah, so it's about the etiquette. So this was another example on how to use ChatGPT. And I will maybe like for especially different administrative tasks. So the ones that we have covered so far was related to lessons, were related to lesson plans, mostly in classroom setting. I know that most of your time is used for communication with parents. And in order to save some time, I know uh, you cannot actually save all of your time with parents, but in order to save some time, it might help you write an email to the parents representatives of your classroom. And here we write it and we ask them to help organize a Valentine's Day party for the students. In the email, ask them to organize a sign up for classroom parents to bring in the following items for 30 students, this, that. So, and let's see what kind of email it will bring. Okay, subject, it writes the subject, volunteer requests, Valentine's Day party for third grade. And then you can, I don't know, like what you think on the quality, but it generates more than moderate. Like the quality is okay. It might sometimes repeat itself. So this is a problem that everyone faces in ChatGPT. It might repeat itself, but uh, uh, it actually helps you a lot as well. So I know we are ahead of our time, and I have a couple of more examples, but what we are going to do, I'm going to share these resources as a PDF with an email after this webinar. You will have a survey from us, but we will also send this send this presentation in PDF format so that you can come back and check the resources. But before leaving, I want to share one thing from Educator Portal. So at the beginning of our webinar, I mentioned that Twin has been creating world's largest education library for sustainability. And Educator Portal is the door that opens to that library for teachers. And there are lots of different activities that can increase the engagement of your classroom and support it with lesson plans. And if you go to f.twinscience.com/n and use promo code AI webinar and sign up, you'll be able to use the educator portal for free for 3 months. And we have talked a lot about how you can get use of this, but as teachers, you at some point you will need to introduce these concepts to children in a relatable and engaging way. And for this, we created different lesson plans on AI, and these are interactive and very straightforward. And when you get into this website, you will see it very easily. I will quickly share uh, how you can sign up. Um, yes, so here, so you will go to app.twinsize.com. You will click on educator and you will click on, I have a promo code here, and you will just type in AI webinar and submit, and it will give you 3 months free digital subscription for the Twin Educator portal. And then you can come up and uh, uh, you can sign up with your information. So write in the email, password, and promo code, and then it will be settled. And when you are in the portal, you will be able to see a library of resources. Um, and these resources are around AI education for children. So, sorry, yes, I hope you are able to see that now. And in here, You can see Introduction to AI, and these resources about machine learning, training learning models, how do computers see. So you can use these resources free of charge. And each one of them is like 20-minute, 25-minute lesson plan, which requires nothing, just a projector in the classroom. So I thank you for actually attending today's discussion, and I hope it was beneficial for you. So we will be sharing an email with you. We would be glad if you can fill that survey. It will help us to shape the agenda of the next webinar. Thank you and have a good night.